Greetings and welcome to another video. In this video, we'll be going over section 10 of the Second Life Terms of Service. This is part of the Second Life Lessons Terms of Service series that I've been working on, and we're almost done. We're almost done, really. We only have 10, 11, and 12 to go. Yay! Right, let's get to it. Section 10, Dispute Resolution and Arbitration. By agreeing to these terms of service, you also agree to arbitrate any and all claims against Linden Lab pursuant to the Federal Arbitration Act and subject to the terms below. The agreement to oh, I just forgot how to say that word. The agreement to arbitrate. There we go. You and Linden Lab agree that we intend that this Section 10 satisfies the writing requirement for the Federal Arbitration Act and further agree that notwithstanding any other provision of these terms of service, the Federal Arbitration Arbitration Act shall govern the interpretation and enforcement of this agreement to arbitrate. 10.1. If a dispute arises between you and Linden Lab regarding a claim, you and we, meaning Linden Lab, agree to alternative dispute resolution. Our goal is to provide you with a neutral and cost-effective means of resolving the dispute quickly. If any controversy, allegation, or claim rises out of or relates to the service, the websites, the content, your user content, your unsolicited ideas and materials, this agreement, your decision to enter into this agreement, any additional terms, or any other aspect of your relationship with Linden Lab, collectively dispute, then you and we agree to send a written notice to the other providing a reasonable description of the dispute along with a proposed resolution of it. Our notice to you will be sent to you based on the most recent contact information, including email address, that you provide us. You are obligated to ensure that such contact information is current and accurate. And then here it gives their address that you send your dispute with. For a period of 60 days from the date of the receipt of notice from the other party, Linden and you will engage in a dialogue in order to attempt to resolve the dispute. Though neither party is required to resolve such dispute on terms which each party in its sole discretion is uncomfortable. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so yeah, in other words, this means so from the date that either party received it, it's 60 days from that date that they've received it, the date of receipt. So it would be highly in your favor to send it registered mail, to have them sign for it. That way you get a receipt in return when it was accepted. But that's the thing. Like the mailroom person can sign for it, and that would start the clock at the date of receipt. But that wouldn't necessarily mean that's when the general counsel department would have gotten it. But then that would go against their time if they anyway, yeah. Um right. So Linden and you will engage in a dialogue back and forth by email or snail mail or however, in order to attempt to resolve dispute. Though neither party, that means either Linden Lab or you, is required to resolve such dispute on terms which each party, in its sole discretion, is uncomfortable. So you aren't required to resolve a dispute on terms which each party is uncomfortable. Think about that. In reality, Linden Lab possibly won't care if you're uncomfortable or not. And yeah, if you're making a dispute, you're not going to care if the lab is uncomfortable or not, are you? No, because you would want a resolution in your favor. Oh, this is important because it's in caps. If we cannot resolve a dispute within 60 days of receipt of such notice, then either you or we may elect to submit the dispute to formal arbitration as hereinafter described. In arbitration, there is no judge or jury. The arbitration proceedings and arbitration outcome are subject to certain confidentiality rules, and C, judicial review of the arbitration outcome is limited. Further, Further, you and Linden Lab agree that should resolution of the dispute occur in arbitration, such disputes will be arbitrated only on individual basis and will not be consolidated with any other arbitration or other proceedings that involve any claim or controversy of any party. But if for any reason any court with competent jurisdiction or any arbitrator selected pursuant to this arbitration provision holds that this restriction limiting the arbitration to disputes between you and Linden Lab is unenforceable, then our agreement above to arbitrate will not apply and the dispute must be brought exclusively in the state or federal courts of San Francisco County, California. So if you're out of the country, whoo, you're out of luck. Yep. Things that are out of the if you're in the US and you have like a legal issue with someone outside of the country, it's not enforceable back and forth. I know this, yes, from personal experience with my international divorce. Now, if it involved kids, then yeah, it that's a different story. But other than that, it's not enforceable. So yeah. If you have a dispute with Linden Lab and you're out of the country, ah, sorry, you're going to have to go through a lot of red tape. So, yeah, moving on. Whew. Should either you or Linden Lab elect to resolve the dispute by way of binding arbitration, the arbitration shall proceed in accordance with the then current commercial arbitration rules of the American Arbitration Association. Except that, as noted, in no event shall the arbitration proceed as a class or representative action if the dispute has a claimed value of not more than 10, what is that? 10,000? No. 10,000? No. Oh man, I suck at math. Ones, tens, hundreds, 10,000s. I that much. I know that's really pathetic that I don't know how much that is. Like, I see. Oh no, that'd be no, that's no. Anyway, look. all those numbers. Uh, yeah, I'm like mathematically dyslexic. Anyway, then the arbitration will be heard and determined by a single neutral arbitrator who is a retired judge or lawyer with not less than 10 years' experience as a practicing member of the bar in the substantive practice area related to the dispute, who will administer the proceedings in accordance with the AAA's supplementary procedures for consumer related disputes. If the dispute has a claim value of more than 10,000, no, 10,100,000, I'm guessing. You can read it for yourself. Then arbitration will be heard and determined by a three-member panel, with one member to be selected by each party and the third, who will chair the panel, selected by two-party appointed members or by the AAA in accordance with the commercial arbitration rules. The arbitrator or arbitration panel, as the case may be, will apply applicable law and the provisions of this agreement and any additional terms, will determine any dispute according to applicable law and facts based upon the record and no other bias, and will issue a reasoned award. Ah, okay, so right. Yeah, the numbers knocked me off. Then the arbitration will be heard and determined by a single neutral arbitrator who is a retired judge or a lawyer with not less than 10 years' experience as a practicing member of the bar in the substantive practice area related to the dispute. So, huh. Okay, yeah, so all right, so it could either be, yeah, you could either file the dispute in your state or the federal courts of San Francisco, so it would be in either place. Sorry. And then that retired judge or lawyer will administer the proceedings in accordance with the AAA's supplementary procedures for customer related disputes, right? If the dispute has a claim value of more than 10,100,000, then the arbitration will be heard. Wow. Okay, so basically, if your claim value of the if the claim value of the dispute is not more than this amount, then it's just between you and Linden Lab to sort the issue out. Wow. Wow. That's how I take it. Okay. If a party properly submits a dispute to the AAA for formal arbitration and the AAA is unwilling or unable to set a hearing date within 60 days of a filing of a demand for arbitration, then either party can select to have the arbitration administered by the Judicial Arbitration and Mediation Services, JAMS, using JAMS streamlined arbitration rules and procedures, or by any other arbitration administration service that you and a legal officer of Linden Lab consent to in writing, except as noted above, that this in no event shall the arbitration proceed or a class or representative action. The substance practice area requirements for the arbitrator and the 10,100,000 threshold for the number of arbitrators assigned to the dispute set forth in the paragraph above will also apply to any such arbitration under JAMS or other arbitration service. Wow. And so this is the procedures and the fees and the information, you know. Um, uh, okay. I had a cough there. It was pretty bad. Okay, so all parties to the arbitration will have the right, at their own expense, to be represented by an attorney or other advocate of their choosing if the dispute has a claim value of not more than 250,000. An arbitration hearing will be conducted at your election, either by telephone or other mutually agreeable remote technology, or in City and County of San Francisco, California. If the dispute has a claimed value of more than 250,000, the arbitration will be conducted in the City and County of San Francisco, California. You and we will pay the administrative and arbitrage fees and other costs in accordance with the applicable arbitration rules, including any rules regarding hardship. But if applicable arbitration rules or laws require Linden Lab to pay a greater portion of all such fees and costs in order for this arbitration provision to be enforceable, or if the arbitrators determine that you would experience an extreme hardship by paying your share of the arbitration fees and costs prior to resolution of the dispute, then Linden Lab will have the right to elect to pay the fees and costs and proceed to arbitration. Hey, that's that's good. Yeah. So if you're too poor and the dispute is a big deal enough, then they will have the right to elect to pay the fees and costs and proceed to arbitration. They will have the right. So it would be up to Linden Lab to pay for you. They will have the right to elect to pay. Yeah, they will have the right, meaning they will also have the right not to. Discovery will be permitted pursuant to the applicable arbitration rules. The arbitrator's decision must consist of a written statement stating the disposition of each claim of the dispute and must provide a statement of the essential findings and conclusions on which the decision and award, if any, may be entered in or by any court that has jurisdiction over the parties, pursuant to Section 9 of the Federal Arbitration Act. The arbiter must honor the terms of this agreement and any additional terms and can award the prevailing party damages and other relief, including attorney fees consistent within applicable law. So this is really legalized, but we're almost done. 10.2 Exceptions to requirement to arbitrate. Notwithstanding the provisions of sections 10.1, either party may seek judicial relief from any court of a competent jurisdiction to enforce an arbitral award issued hereunder, to compel arbitration required hereunder, or to obtain temporary injunctive relief to prevent imminent and irreparable harm, or to preserve the status quo until an arbitrator can be impaneled and determine whether to continue, terminate, or modify any such relief. In the event of a request for temporary injunction relief, the requirement of 60 days dialogue before an arbitration can be initiated shall not apply. Can that can be initiated and shall not apply. As set out in section 10.1, in the event a court arbitrator determines that the limitation of the arbitration to disputes between you and Linden Lab, prohibiting class or representative proceedings is unenforceable, the dispute must must be brought exclusively in the state or federal courts of San Francisco County, California. That was a very tough section. Yeah, so basically, okay, I'm just going to sum it up. Basically, if you get to this part, if you have such a dispute, uh, regarding a claim but that you want to bring against Linden Lab, first off, if it's not more than $100,000, then yeah, just go on about your life. Start over somewhere else. That's it, basically. I mean, it would have to be a major, like, dispute. The only one that I can think of was years ago, and it was between Linden Lab and, oh, I want to say Eros, but I don't think that was it. Oh, this is way back in the day. It was the guy that sold like the sex beds or something. I can't remember his name. But anyway, there you go. So basically, if you're just a normal person like me, yeah, no, don't worry about it. Just, yeah. I only went over this section to because it's part of the terms of service. I wasn't going to leave it out, and it was there. Yeah, not the majority of us will not get to this part, but you know where to go find it. Right. And let's see how we're doing for time. Okay. So the next section is section 11, general provisions. And mm, yeah, that will get its own video. So that is it from me. And oh, look, I have my own little. So that is it from me. And I hope you found this useful. I mean, I got I got to practice saying the word arbitration several times, and I got my mouth moving for this early in the morning. But anyway, seriously, section 10, don't worry about it. Really, don't, don't. Okay, and I will see you in the next video. I hope you learned something. Bye.